Welcome, kindred spirits. I'm so grateful you're here with me today on Healing Our Kindred Spirits. I am Donna Gaudette, and today's episode is all about something deeply personal and very powerful. Today, we're going to talk about creating a sacred space where you can heal, connect, and feel truly empowered. Let me ask you this. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt a heaviness in the air? Or maybe you stepped into a space and suddenly felt maybe irritated or anxious for no clear reason? Are you a sensitive soul, an empath, or someone who just naturally soaks in the energy around you? If any of that sounds familiar, I want to use this time together to talk about something I believe is essential: the importance of space clearing and the beauty of creating your own sacred space. By the time we wrap up today, we'll have explored 4 empowering lessons together. 1, what sacred space really is and how to create and curate what you need within it. Number 2, why sacred space matters more than ever. Number 3, 5 healing benefits of having your own sacred sanctuary. And 4, how to create a personalized sacred space. Let's get started. Hi, welcome back. In every episode and on my socials, I always invite listeners to reach out with questions or episode ideas. And I do appreciate that. And I invite you to keep reaching out. This podcast can only be as good as it can be because of your feedback. And I do appreciate it. So whether it's through social media, direct messaging, email, or through the website, I love hearing from you. I've had quite a few of you reach out to ask about self care, specifically spiritual self care, especially around protecting your energy and not picking up other people's emotional weight in shared spaces. Nothing is worse than having all that ick around you. So I thought this would be the perfect time to have a heart to heart and walk through some grounding, practical ways you can protect your energy, clear stuck energy, or even heavy energy from your environment, and create a sacred space that feels uniquely yours. I like to refer to this space as sacred space. Think of this as a warm, welcoming intro to spiritual self care. One of many episodes I'm hoping to devote to creating soul nourishing self care for your body, mind, spirit, and soul. And here's the good news: chances are you already have what you need. A sacred space doesn't have to be elaborate or expensive. It can be as simple as a cozy chair in the corner, a small shelf with some meaningful items, or even just the top of your dresser. What matters most is how it feels. It's the kind of space that makes your soul exhale and that gently says, "You're safe here." So, whether you're just beginning your spiritual self care journey or have been walking this path for years, this conversation is for you, because sacred space isn't about aesthetics or perfection. It's about presence. It's about the intention behind what you're creating, and you're creating something just for you. And if you're someone who feels things deeply, like I do, if you're an empath, a highly sensitive soul, or just someone who tends to absorb the emotional climate of the world around you, then sacred space isn't just helpful, it's vital. It's not a luxury, it's your safe place to land. It's a soft place to fall. It's a space to come home to yourself when the world feels too much or too loud. When I started working on this episode, I just kept adding more and more and more because there was so much I wanted to share with you, to give to you. But and before I knew it, I had over 30 pages of notes again. That's when I decided to split this episode into 2 parts. This first episode focuses on creating your sacred space, and the second episode, which I'm releasing at the same time, will guide you through identifying stagnant energy in your spaces and around objects and show you step by step how to cleanse, clear, and release it. So, whether you're new to all of this or whether you've been doing it for a while, I'm sure you'll be able to curate something from it. And I had really a lot of fun creating both. And spiritually cleansing a space or an object is second nature to me, but I had to remind myself that some of you might be just starting on this path, and I didn't want to overwhelm you with too much at once. So, whether again you're brand new or have been doing this for years, I'm confident you'll find something here to add to your spiritual tool belt. And today we're going to gently explore how the energy of our everyday spaces, i.e., where we work, cry, rest, grieve, dream, and grow, can either support us quietly or subtly drain us. And more importantly, we'll talk about how to shift and renew that energy with intention. Because let's be honest, the world is noisy. It's fast moving, it's often demanding, and it really leaves space for softness or sacredness. And I think many of us are missing that in our lives. And that's exactly why we need this, why you need this. A space, physically, emotionally, and energetically, that holds you, that reflects you, as well as nourishes your spirit. So, this episode will be part conversation, part how to, and part gentle invitation. We'll talk about how to create a sanctuary in your home, or even just a quiet little corner where you can breathe. We'll explore how to recognize when something feels off energetically and how to lovingly bring back things into alignment. And if you're someone living with chronic pain, carrying grief, or just doing your best to get through the day while trying to stay whole, you're not alone here. Sacred space isn't a luxury for you either. It's a lifeline. It's a gentle, loving way to show yourself care when the world feels too heavy. So let's begin. So, what is sacred space and why does it matter? So, let's start at the heart of it all. What exactly is sacred space? Now, I know when some folks hear that phrase, they might picture a room draped in crystals and incense, and maybe some flowing tapestries or a few spiritual statues. And yes, it can look like that. But sacred space isn't defined by how it looks, it's defined by how it feels. To me, sacred space is any place, physical or energetic, where your spirit feels held. It's where your shoulders drop, it's where the noise of the world softens, and you can just be. It doesn't have to be big or fancy or expensive or even noticeable to anybody else. It might be even just a chair by the window that catches the afternoon light. Maybe you have a favorite blanket, a quiet moment with a cup of tea, your pet nestled beside you. It might be a small tray on your nightstand with comforting things, a candle, a crystal, a photo, or even a note you wrote to yourself that day, or a day maybe when you needed love the most. Maybe it's your garden, your bathtub lit with soft candlelight, or a patch of sky you always look up to. And sometimes it's not even a place at all. It's a moment, a breath, a feeling. Sacred space is a reflection of your truest self, the self beneath all the titles, the to-do list, the roles you juggle. It's the part of you that doesn't have to explain or even perform. It's the part that just wants a place to land. And especially for those of us who are empaths or highly sensitive, this kind of space isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. As humans going through this human experience, we absorb so much emotions, energy, the stress and static of the world. So, having a space that's truly ours, that supports and grounds us, can mean the difference between constant overwhelm and emotional balance. So, creating sacred space is a beautiful act of self honoring. It's you saying to the world and to yourself, this part is for me. It's where we reconnect to our breath, our spirit, or even our own healing. And here's the thing: energy builds up, life happens, stress lingers, emotions cling to spaces, rooms carry memories. That's why resetting and clearing your space energetically and emotionally is just as important as creating it in the first place. One of my favorite books on this topic is Sacred Space: Turning Your Home into a Sanctuary by Jill Angelo. What I love about it is her reminder that creating sacred space doesn't require money. It requires creativity, intuition, most of all, heart. And that speaks deeply to me This isn't about having all the right tools. It's about tuning into what your soul needs. So your sacred space might be where you meditate, you journal, you pray, you create, cry, or simply curl up with a book that feeds your spirit. It might be a whole room or just the quiet ritual of lighting a candle with intention. There's no right way or wrong way. And what matters most is that it feels like you, not the curated, polished version of you, but your real, beautiful, tender self, the one that needs tending, the one that longs for that soft place to land. Sacred space doesn't have to be religious, though it can be if that speaks to your soul. And more than anything, it's about reverence. Reverence for your healing, for your inner world, or even for your peace. So when we talk about sacred space, we're really talking about making room for stillness, for breath, for clarity, for your return to self. In a world that constantly demands we keep producing and performing, sacred space invites us to soften and simply be. And that matters. That matters a lot. So in our last episode, we touched on the 5 sacred truths that creating a sacred space can teach us. And I've had great response from many of you about that episode. And so today I want to take us a little deeper today. So many of you have reached out, especially those of you who are empathic and deeply sensitive, asking how to recharge, how to bring balance back into your life, because most of it feels too much. I hear you. I've been there too. I still feel that. And there was a time in my life when I was working over 50 hours a week. I was caregiving for my dad, raising my family, still showing up for my clients in my healing and wellness space. It was a lot. It was everything. And on the days when it all felt too heavy, when I just needed to step away from the noise and the responsibility, I found myself retreating to the back stairway at work. That simple tucked away spot became my escape, became my breath, my sacred pause. Sometimes I'd just sit there in silence. And sometimes when I was really overwhelmed, I'd have a good cry. I've been creating sacred spaces for over 20 years now. And just like me, they've evolved with time. What worked for me 2 decades ago doesn't necessarily serve me now. And that's okay. I've learned to honor that. We're meant to change. We're meant to evolve. So today I have 2 dedicated rooms in our home that bring me so much peace and joy. One is my healing room. And if you listen to the last episode, you may remember me talking about my big, beautiful oak roll top desk that was gifted to me from my dad. It's in that room alongside a cozy chair, a lightweight soft blanket, soft lighting, and shelves filled with not clutter, but with objects that bring meaning. I love fairy lights, candles, fairies, angels, crystals. I have lavender buds. I have crosses. I have prayer items. I have tabletop lighted trees. And I even have a salt lamp that's carved into the shape of an angel. In a few days, I will post some photos of that space in our private Facebook group, just so you can have a visual and feel the energy that it holds. I told you how I want to be authentic with this podcast. And so I will share what my space looks like. And don't think you have to emulate it. It's just something that you can have as a visual to maybe get you started on your own journey. And again, you can find that page on Facebook by searching Healing Our Kindred Spirits podcast group. And we also have a public page as well. So the other room is my creative room, which is still a work in progress. And it will contain the goddess and the moon energy. I feel so connected to that divine feminine essence, the lunar rhythm, the quiet power. In that room, you're going to find moon themed pieces, crystals, and lots of inspiring touches that help me tap into my creativity. And again, I have been curating and collecting things for over 20 years. And I have things around me that mean things. Not, I just don't acquire things for the sake of acquiring them. When I purchase something, it's because it's intention. I feel called to it. I feel drawn to it. I feel like my space needs this. I feel like I need this. So don't think you have to fill up your space with just things. Things that are in there should have meaning for you. And honestly, every room in our home holds sacred intention. Every room. Each one has crystals of fairy door, and every room is lit with salt lamps and fairy lights. And our bedroom, where I often need to rest for hours at a time, is decorated with soft fairy lights, crystals, angels. I have lighted trees and peaceful little touches that help me feel grounded and supported, even on the hardest days. Because I've learned over the years that if I'm going to be spending time resting in bed due to chronic illness or fatigue, that my space needs to uplift me. It needs to feel like medicine, and it does. So, why is sacred space so healing and so empowering? Here's the truth: life is heavy. We go through grief, chronic pain, emotional exhaustion, work, relationships, family, all the noise and expectations that come with being human in this world. We're all going through this human experience together. We're constantly being pulled in 100 directions, and it's so easy to lose ourselves in that process. But sacred space, it's the place we return to. It becomes our anchor in the storm of life. So when you create a space that honors your peace, your healing, your inner stillness, you're sending a vital message to every part of your being. And it says, I matter. My energy matters. My healing matters. And that's not just a lovely sentiment. That's real. That's physiological. Our nervous system responds to our environment. When we sit in a space that feels calm, intentional, and safe, our bodies naturally begin to shift out of that fight or flight and into the rest and restore mode. That's not just spiritual insight, that's trauma informed truth. Sacred space reminds you you're safe now, you're seen, you belong here. And it's incredibly empowering in a world that tries to tell us who we should be or how we should act or how we should feel. Your sacred space is where you get to decide. You choose what stays and what goes physically, energetically, emotionally. That's power. That's sovereignty. Have you ever noticed how a certain scent can instantly transport you to a memory? Does that for me. Hearing a specific song or seeing an old photograph can shift your entire mood. That's the power of sensory memory, and it plays a huge role in creating sacred space. When you fill your space with things that gently whisper peace to your nervous system, things that ground you, that remind you, this is who I am. Beneath all the noise, this is me. No apologies. And it could be something as simple as maybe a shelf from the beach that holds your heart, a piece of fabric that reminds you of your grandmother's hug, a photo, a stone from a meaningful hike, a letter you wrote to yourself in a moment of deep truth. Whatever you choose, make it personal. Let it hold meaning. Let it reflect you. And as I mentioned earlier, I have curated things in my space that bring me calm and joy and a sense of being held. What soothes me might feel overwhelming to someone else, and that's okay. This isn't about trends or Pinterest worthy setups. This is about what supports your healing journey at this point in time. And remember, these are not just things, they're soul markers. They carry stories, they carry energy, they carry you. So, I want to talk about 5 healing benefits of sacred space. So, when we talk about sacred space, it's more than just a peaceful corner or a beautifully arranged setup. At its core, sacred space is healing. It's gentle medicine for the soul. It's not flashy, it's not performative, but that quiet, steady kind of support that helps you come home to yourself again and again. So, here are 5 of the most beautiful ways sacred space can support your healing and your personal growth. Number 1, it calms your nervous system and reduces stress. When you step into a space that's been created with love and intention, your body recognizes that. Your breath naturally deepens, your shoulders drop, you begin to shift out of survival mode and into calmness. That isn't just emotional, that's biological. Our nervous systems are wired to seek safety, and sacred space offers that sense of safety. When I was teaching, I always made it a point to create a peaceful and calming environment in my classroom. Even though I was working with adults and secondary education students, and let's be honest, that meant a lot of different personalities in one room. Still, I was often complimented on how relaxing the space felt. Colleagues and students alike would say, "It just feels so good in here." Some teachers would even come sit in my classroom on their breaks just to soak in that energy, that peaceful feeling. That's what sacred space offers. And you can create that anywhere, anytime, by whatever means that you have at your disposal. Number two, it deepens your connection to yourself, to spirit, or to something greater. Whether you connect with Source, the universe, God, your higher self, or simply the quiet wisdom of your soul, sacred space becomes the doorway. It's where the outer noise fades and the inner voice becomes clearer. And it's a space where you can hear what's true underneath the distractions of daily life. Number three, it creates clarity mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. What do I mean by that? When your outer world is cluttered or chaotic, it can be nearly impossible to hear your inner guidance, your intuition. But when you sit in a space that feels aligned, peaceful, and supportive, your thoughts begin to settle. Emotions soften, clarity rises up from inside. It's not forced, but it gently reveals itself. And in a sacred space, your intuition finally gets room to speak because you're not dealing with all the outside noise and you're able to hear it. Number four, it invites emotional release and healing. There's something profoundly healing about having a space where you can feel, I mean, truly feel without apology, where your grief has room to breathe, where tears are welcome, where nothing is rushed or silenced or shamed. Sacred space says all of you, all of you, all of you is welcome here. And that kind of emotional permission can be deeply healing. And number five, it reminds you every day that you matter. Let me repeat that again. It reminds you every day that you matter. Sacred space is a living, breathing affirmation that you matter, that your peace matters, that your rest and healing are not only valid, but worth prioritizing. When was the last time you prioritized yourself? I think a lot of you have not done that in a while through no fault of your own. It's just through life, but you are worthy of prioritizing. Self care is so important. And you can do this through small, meaningful rituals like lighting a candle, sitting in quiet reflection, journaling, or even placing your hand on your heart and sending yourself a loving message each day. I am worthy of care. I am worthy of care. Not a question, it's a statement. I am worthy of care. And here's something I want you to remember. You don't have to earn your way into sacred space. You don't have to wait until you're healed or whole or have everything figured out. You just have to return to it over and over again because that space, it's not about escaping the world. It's about remembering who you are so that you can walk back into the world more grounded, more centered, or even a different, better version of you. That, my friend, is the true power of sacred space. When you commit to nurturing a sacred space, you're doing so much more than creating a cozy corner or decorating a room. You're creating an emotional safe haven, a place where you don't have to perform, a place where you can be soft, real, messy, joyful, grieving, or just still. It's a place where your soul can stretch out and just be. So sacred space can offer you a sense of safety and grounding, container for your grief, reflection, or even if you're going through a transformation. And it is a quiet home for your truest self. It's where you can cocoon. And it's a daily opportunity for emotional self regulation. Unplug, readjust, and you'll come out better, a better version of you. And it's a reconnection to your intuition, to clarity, to joy, even stillness. And again, it's not about escaping the world. It's about returning to yourself so you can meet the world from a place that feels whole. So, how do we begin creating a sacred space? If you're wondering how to begin your own sacred space, it's really easy to create your space. Or if the idea feels a little overwhelming, take a breath. This doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. Start with what brings you comfort. What helps you breathe a little easier? That's your starting point. So here's a gentle way to begin. 1, choose your spot. It doesn't have to be a whole room. It might be a corner, a windowsill, a tray by your bed, or even a quiet spot outside. When I first started, my sacred space was just a small wooden box. Then I graduated to a shelf, then a nightstand, and then eventually it grew into an entire room. Now it's the whole house, but it didn't start there. It evolved over time, 20 years of time. Number 2, you want to clear the energy. Begin by physically cleaning the area, then energetically clear it. You can clear it with sound like chimes or a singing bowl, smoke such as sage or Palo Santo, or simply with your intention and breath. To learn more about clearing and cleansing as well as balancing the energy of the space, we'll get more into that in part 2 of this podcast. So please listen to that next episode if you're interested in how to clear the energy from things. Number 3, set your intention. Ask yourself, what do I want to feel here? Do I want to feel peace? Do I want to feel creativity? Do I want to feel healing? It's different for everyone, and it's not a one size fits all. That intention will guide you, and it'll bring you into the space and how you want to interact with it. Number 4, this one's really important. Add meaningful elements to your space. Choose items that you connect to or your spirit connects to. It could be a candle, a photo, a crystal, a journal, a plant, or even a prayer card. There's no right or wrong here, only what feels true to you. The sacred space police is not going to be knocking at your door and say, hey, you're doing this wrong. Listen to your intuition, to your gut, to what you feel inside. Those are the things you'll add to your sacred space. Number 5, create a ritual. This doesn't have to be elaborate. And when I say ritual, certain connotations come to people's mind, but think about it. Think of it this way. We already have rituals. We wake up, we shower, we make coffee, we go to work, we come home, we make dinner. Rituals are simply rhythms that anchor us. You don't need to overthink it. It could be as simple as lighting a candle, sipping your tea or coffee in silence, pulling a daily oracle card, saying a short prayer or affirmation. Don't complicate it. Simplify it. Number 6, let it evolve. This is really important. As I mentioned earlier, mine has evolved over the 20 plus years, and that's okay. It's meant to. Your sacred space will change as you change. Let it grow with you. Let it reflect your inner world in real time. So now for the fun part. What goes into your sacred space? This is where your soul gets to speak. There's no checklist, no trend to follow, no pressure to make it Instagram worthy. Doesn't need to look like a curated altar. It just needs to feel like home to you, home to your spiritual body, home to your soul. So think of it like this. When you walk into your space, your body should breathe. And I don't mean breath in the way we take a breath, but your whole body should relax. Your spirit should soften, and that's how you'll know you're doing it right. So let's walk through some elements that can help create that feeling. And again, you don't need to have these. These are just suggestions. Softness and comfort. You want textures that hold you, that support you energetically, spiritually. Our bodies by nature crave softness, especially when we're healing or we're feeling vulnerable. Over the last few years, we know there's been this thing about weighted blankets. Some people like them, some people don't like them. It's your preference. But we crave that softness, especially when we're healing. So you might include a favorite blanket that feels like a hug, maybe some floor cushions, or even a soft chair. Whatever you feel guided to do, whatever you want to sit on the floor, you want to sit on a chair, you want to lay in the bed, whatever feels right for you. It could be a cozy rug beneath your feet. You might have hardwood floors and you like lying on the hardwood floor. That's okay. Whatever feels right for you. And layering your space like you layer comfort on a chilly night, you want it to embrace you. Number two, gentle light that invites you in. I can't stress enough how important light is. When we have harsh lighting, it can make us feel alert and not at ease. And we want to soften the mood of that space with something that is gentle. I love fairy lights or string lights, and we use everything in our home is LED. So our fairy lights are even LED. I have Himalayan salt lamps because you have that warm glow, and either beeswax or LED candles for flickering warmth. So lighting isn't just functional, it's emotional. Let it say, come rest a while. Light is very important, but it has to be the right kind of light. Nature's elements, earth, water, fire, and air. Nature helps us reconnect and rebalance. So you want to consider bringing in for earth, what about stones, crystals? Maybe you found a piece of driftwood at the beach. Plants, anything that comes from the earth will help balance your space. And you don't need to overdo it. Just one thing is fine, one or two things, whatever you feel guided. When it comes to stones and crystals, I do have quite a bit, but I don't have so much where you can't see what they are and what they're for. Everything is about intention. Water, you could put a shell, a small bowl, sea glass, or even a photo of water. I have a aromatherapy diffuser in my room. And so that brings in not only water, but it also brings aromatherapy as well. And if you're using anything aromatherapy, please be sure to use it safely and mindful around children and pets, elderly, anyone who may have a health condition. Be careful for that. Fire could be a candle, an image of a sunrise, or even warm light. And ear could be incense, feathers, essential oils, or a bell or a chime. These elements speak to something primal in us. They ground us, they soothe us, and they can even awaken us. Number four, meaningful objects, which are mirrors of the soul. Sacred space isn't about stuff. It's about meaning. So you might include maybe a photo of someone who comforts or inspires you, a handwritten letter or affirmation, a small item from a loved one, a crystal, tarot, or oracle deck, or even a sentimental keepsake. I have many of those in my space. I have a wooden prayer bowl in a couple of my rooms, and I have little cards that you can write prayers on or affirmations on or what you want to release. And I do have that in there, and it feels right for the space. Again, it's different for everybody. So these objects become touchstones. They hold energy, they hold memory, they hold emotion. I have rosaries from my mom and my grandmother. I have things that feel powerful to me because they were given to me, they were gifted to me, and I feel something when I hold them in my hand. Number five, sound that supports you. Did you know that sound can shift energy? Whether it's music, chimes, or even silence, it has power. You could bring in a singing bowl or a tuning fork, a wind chime or gentle bells, or even a curated playlist with calming music or nature sounds, or simply the intentional presence of silence. Maybe you just want quiet, and that in itself can support you. Number six, scent and sensory memory. Smell is one of the strongest connectors to memory and mood. So try lavender for calm. We think of lavender I know when I was a kid, lavender was something that older people had in their homes. Lavender can be so calming and Not everybody likes the scent of it, but if you have actual lavender buds, it can be very healing and supportive. I have lavender buds in little glass hanging tea light holders on my fairy trees. And when you walk into my healing space, you smell that, not overpowering, but it's calming, and it settles down my nerves rather quickly. There's Palo Santo or frankincense for clarity, eucalyptus or rosemary, which can help with mental renewal, and you have dried herbs, fresh flowers, or even essential oils. Find what speaks to you, what grounds you, what makes you feel whole. And just as a precaution, if you have small children and or pets, please be careful with aromatherapy, essential oils, and scents around them as they may be toxic for them, especially for pets. Please do your due diligence before introducing any new scents, herbs, or aromatherapy into your space or your home. Just really, really be careful. Number 7, sacred symbols and geometry. Sometimes we're drawn to certain patterns or symbols. Have you ever found yourself feeling drawn to spirals or mandalas or sacred shapes? These hold energy and resonance. And I said mandalas because everybody pronounces that some way different. Mandalas, whatever way you want to pronounce that, that's up to you, but I call it mandalas. If something calls to you, maybe a symbol, a pattern, an image, honor it. I feel connected to the moon. So when I have things of a picture of the moon around me, I feel empowered. It could just be a triangle. I've been connected and drawn to pyramids for years, and I have a few in my healing space. They're small, they fit in the palm of my hand, and they're filled with crystals and elements that help keep the energy balanced. Find what is right for you. And many times we don't know what we need or what we're drawn to until we see it and it clicks for us. Number 8, color that feeds your energy. Color is such a mood influencer and can even energetically shift how a space feels. You might try earthy tones like terracotta or sage for grounding, soft neutrals for peace and simplicity, maybe some muted pastels like lavender or rose for emotional softness, or maybe deep tones like indigo, gold, or amethyst for spiritual connection. Let your color choices reflect how you want to feel. It doesn't have to be something that you see on Pinterest and you need to do what everyone else is doing, or something that you saw in one of the socials. Just do what feels right for you. Whatever you feel connected to, that is the right choice. And number 9, a personal altar. It's optional, but it can bring a certain sacredness to the space if you have room for it. Or maybe you might just start with a personal altar. If it feels right to you, create that small altar. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. It can just be as simple as just a couple of items. And some items that you could include is maybe a candle or other gentle soft light source, such as, we talked about fairy lights or even a salt lamp, a crystal, a meaningful photo or symbol, a feather, a leaf, or something from nature, or maybe a handwritten quote or intention or even a prayer. Let it evolve with the seasons or with your inner world. Let it hold your daily rituals and your quiet moments of reflection. And 10, ask yourself, what do I need right now? Remember, this is your space. There are no rules. No rules. No, 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 no. No rules. Ask yourself, what do I want to feel here? What textures, scents, sounds, or colors bring me peace? What reflects my spirit, my healing, my connection to something greater? Sacred space should feel like an exhale, a remembering, a return. It should not feel like a chore. And remember, it doesn't have to be grand. Even a single candle, a folded blanket, a favorite quote taped to a wall can be sacred. If it centers your spirit, it belongs. Let your space speak for you, to you, and with you. Let me repeat that again. Let your space speak for you, to you, and with you. And let it be your sanctuary, not just for your body, but for your soul. So, once we have our sacred space created, how do you use it? Whether you have just a shelf or a tabletop or an entire room, you sit in it. Sit with it. You sit in it or you sit with it. You breathe. You journal. Maybe you cry. You read. You light a candle. You sip your tea. You pet you have a cat on your lap. You pet your cat. Anything that you feel guided to, that's your sacred space. Maybe you can pull an inspirational card that can provide guidance. Maybe you just want to stare out the window. Maybe you want to rest or sleep. Or maybe you just want to simply be. Be present, be by yourself, be simple, just simple. And in that being, that's when healing begins. So let your space hold your rituals, whatever they look like, whether it's 5 quiet minutes in the morning, a whispered prayer at bedtime, or a full moon ceremony with intention. Let it evolve with you. Let it reflect your joy, your questions, your grief, and even your growth. And don't forget, your sacred space doesn't have to be inside. It could be a tree you sit under, a rock you touch every morning, a little garden altar made of feathers or flowers, maybe some nature elements. Your bare feet on the ground as you breathe with the earth, also called earthing and grounding. Nature remembers what we've forgotten. We've gotten so busy in life that we have forgotten to just be. Sometimes the most powerful sacred space is under the open sky. On our deck, I have 2 raised container gardens. One is a fairy garden, playful and magical. That's the energy from it. And the other is a memorial garden in honor of our loved ones I've lost, including my pets. And there are fairy lights draped across the deck, Edison bulbs hanging overhead, solar moonlights tucked in corners, and wind chimes that sing with the breeze. I've added bird feeders, a birdhouse, even a squirrel feeder. And I have this beautiful, at least 50-pound rose quartz that my brother brought me from Louisiana. And I'll share some photos of these spaces as well and of that rose quartz on our private Facebook group page. And in the mornings, I love sitting out on that deck in stillness, listening to the birds, that quiet time that fills my spirit. Even though I hear the distant hum of the highway, when I close my eyes, I just envision that I'm hearing the ocean. I just hear the hum of the ocean. And again, it's what you feel. In the evenings, I sit again watching the sun dip behind the trees. Even when I can't see the full moon because it's hidden behind the house, I still feel it. That energy is real. And sometimes I'll do a full moon blessing right there on my deck. And never underestimate the power of the sun, the moon, and the natural world. Their rhythms. Their rhythms are sacred and they're always available to you. Whether your sacred space is inside or under the stars, let it hold you. Let it remind you that healing doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's a whisper, a moment, a breath, a place to simply belong. I want to thank you for spending this time, this sacred time with me today. I know we covered a lot, so don't feel like you have to remember every single detail. And I usually don't leave full transcripts of the podcast on the website, but I will for this one. So feel free to go ahead and reread what we've talked about. And I'm also going to include some journal prompts and some resources so you can find in our private Healing Our Kindred Spirits Facebook group page. I'll have a lot of what we talked about on there. And as I mentioned earlier, there was so much to share that I decided to split this topic into 2 episodes. So today we explored creating your sacred space, and in part 2, which is available being released the same time I'm releasing this episode, we'll go deeper into cleansing, clearing, balancing, and energizing your space, along with the objects you keep there. We'll talk about why certain objects carry energy, how that energy can affect you, and how to clear and bless spaces that you spend time in. Remember, everything collects energy. So whether you're just starting to imagine your sacred space, or maybe you're returning to one that's been your sanctuary for years, I hope this reminded you of something gentle and deeply true. You are sacred space. Your body, your breath, your spirit, they are not separate from the calm and beauty you create around you. They are the calm, they are the beauty, they are the space. So as you cleanse your home, light your candle, arrange your altar, or settle into that soft chair that always holds you, don't forget to clear you too. You can clear through Reiki, through energy work, through salt baths, even crying. Your tears are very healing. Through laughter, through stillness, through breath, through simply showing up for yourself. Because what you clear around you, you also clear within. And what you heal within, that ripples outward in ways you may never fully see, but will always deeply feel. If this episode offered you even a single breath of peace or a small shift in perspective, I'm truly grateful. And if you've created a sacred space or are just beginning to dream one into being, I'd love to hear about it. You can visit us on our Healing Our Kindred Spirits Facebook group, or reach out to me through the podcast or by email at healingourkindredspirits@gmail.com. I would love to see photos of your sacred space. Go ahead and share them on our Facebook group. I would love to see what you create. A few gentle affirmations that I want to share with you to carry with you, if you're so guided. My space reflects my inner peace. I release what no longer serves me and welcome in light. I am safe. I am held. I am home. My sacred space supports my healing. And I am worthy of rest, softness, and spiritual sanctuary. Take a breath with me. Let those words land where you need them most. Until next time, may your space be soft. May your spirit be light. May your heart be at peace. And may your sacred space always reflect your sacred self again and again. Take gentle care. Namaste.